Most people think building wealth feels dramatic. Big raises, huge investments, overnight success. But real wealth almost never announces itself. It doesn't show up with fireworks or screenshots. It builds quietly, invisibly, while you're busy living your life. In fact, a lot of people who say they're behind are actually doing far better than they think. Because wealth doesn't start with money, it starts with behavior. And if you recognize these signs in your own life, you might already be building wealth without even realizing it. Wealth is usually misunderstood as a destination, a number, a finish line. But in reality, wealth is a process, a set of habits that compound slowly over time. Most of the progress happens before the results are obvious. That's why people who are truly building wealth often feel underwhelmed. It doesn't feel exciting. It feels boring, repetitive, almost anticlimactic. So today, we're breaking down the subtle signals, the quiet indicators that you're on the right path, even if your bank balance doesn't look impressive yet. If you see yourself in these signs, you're not behind. You're early. You spend with intention, not emotion. One of the first signs of real wealth building is a change in how you spend. You don't necessarily spend less, but you spend more deliberately. You pause before purchases. You ask whether something adds value to your life or just fills a moment of boredom. Impulse spending loses its grip, not because you're disciplined, but because it stops feeling rewarding. This shift is powerful because money leaks rarely come from big decisions. They come from small, emotional ones repeated over years. When spending becomes intentional, cash flow stabilizes, and stability is the foundation of wealth. Your lifestyle isn't inflating with your income. As income rises, most people upgrade everything automatically. Bigger place, better car, higher fixed costs. But if your income has increased and your lifestyle hasn't scaled at the same pace, that's a massive signal. It means margin is growing, even if you're not tracking it perfectly. Wealth isn't built by earning more alone. It's built by keeping the gap between what you earn and what you need. That gap becomes savings, investments, flexibility, and eventually freedom. If your expenses don't own every dollar you make, you're building wealth. You think in time horizons, not paychecks. At some point, your thinking shifts. Instead of asking, can I afford this month? You start asking, how does this affect me next year? Or what does this cost me long term? That mental shift is huge. It means you're no longer optimizing for short-term comfort. You're optimizing for future leverage. People who stay paycheck-focused remain reactive. People who think in time horizons become strategic. That's not about being rich, that's about being oriented correctly. You're reducing financial fragility. Wealth isn't just about upside, it's about resilience. If you're building an emergency fund, paying down high-interest debt, or simplifying your financial life, you're reducing fragility. That means fewer things can knock you off course. Less panic when something breaks, less stress when income fluctuates, more room to respond instead of react. A fragile financial life can look impressive on the surface. A resilient one often looks boring, but it lasts. You invest in skills, not just assets. Early wealth often shows up in places that don't look like money. Courses, books, tools, learning curves. If you're consistently improving skills that increase your earning power, problem-solving ability, or leverage, you're building wealth upstream. Assets multiply money. Skills created. People who focus only on assets too early often stall. People who invest in skills first create optionality, the ability to pivot, adapt, and earn in different environments. That optionality is a hidden form of wealth. You're comfortable delaying gratification. This one is subtle. You don't deprive yourself, but you're no longer chasing instant rewards. You can wait. You can plan. You can say, not now, without resentment. That doesn't mean you're strict, it means you're patient. Delayed gratification isn't about discipline, it's about belief. Belief that future you is worth prioritizing. Belief that waiting leads somewhere better. And that belief is a prerequisite for compounding. You're less worried about appearances. As people start building real wealth, something strange happens. They care less about looking successful. They stop trying to signal progress. They stop comparing timelines. They stop needing validation for financial decisions. That's not because they've made it. It's because they're no longer outsourcing confidence to other people's opinions. Wealth grows best in privacy. Quiet progress beats loud consumption every time. If you're less concerned with keeping up, you're already pulling ahead. You feel more calm than excited about money. This is one of the strongest indicators and one of the least talked about. Money stops feeling emotional. You're not euphoric when you earn. You're not panicked when you spend. You're not anxious about checking balances constantly. You feel steady. That calm isn't apathy. It's control. When money becomes predictable, it becomes useful. When it's useful, it compounds. Excitement fades. Stability builds. And stability is where wealth actually lives. Why most people miss these signs? The problem is that social media teaches us to look for the wrong indicators. Cars, houses, vacations, screenshots. But those are outputs, not foundations. By the time wealth is visible, most of the work has already been done quietly, years earlier by people who didn't feel rich at the time. If you're waiting to feel wealthy before you believe you're on track, you'll always feel behind. Progress shows up first as alignment, then as consistency, then as compounding. The money comes last. Building wealth rarely feels like winning. It feels like choosing stability over chaos, patience over urgency, direction over speed. If you recognize yourself in even a few of these signs, you're not late, you're early, and you're doing better than you think. If this helps reframe how you see your progress, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. We break down money, behavior, and long-term thinking without the hype, so you can build real wealth, not just chase the appearance of it. Because the most important progress is the kind you don't notice until it's already working.